Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. If you like my videos, please press the like button, please do subscribe. Today is Tuesday. It's Tuesday today, isn't it? Alexa, what's the day today?
It's Tuesday the 28th of February.
Alexa, what's the date?
It's Tuesday the 28th of February.
Alexa, what's the weather like?
Right now in Rochester, it's 3 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has showers, with a high of 7 degrees and a low of 1 degree.
Alexa, what's the time?
The time is 8:21 a.m.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
What do you get if you sit on a barbecue? Hot cross buns.
Alexa, can you give me the thought of the day?
Here is your thought for February 28th. From Leonardo DiCaprio: if you can do what you do best and be happy, you're further along in life than most people.
Sounds easy, but it's not. Do what you want that makes you happy. It's sometimes, it's just hard to remain happy all the time, isn't it? Right guys, so yesterday afternoon I took Max out for a walk, just taking it slowly. Builders were about, sat down and walking around. I walked around the field by myself with Max, and I enjoyed myself. I took it slowly, wasn't running or anything, I just took it easy because I wasn't feeling too well, and I just walked around the field and took in the lovely nature and the riverside. And then I walked slowly back home to my flat, and that's where I stayed, and I decided to do a clean up of my bedroom. So I decided to do I spent hours cleaning my bedroom yesterday. I needed something to occupy my mind. I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't lie down because with the type of pain I get, it's very hard to just lie down and relax. So I decided to get on with something. So I changed the bed, cleaned the floor, put some flowers on the windowsill, and got rid of about 4 bags of rubbish. And then I started doing a tiny bit of the living room over. So we're taking it slowly, like a bit of spring cleaning, if you like. Spring cleaning. So that took me up to nearly 8 o'clock last night. And then I took Max out later than usual in the evening. And again, it's fairly quiet, dark, cold, a bit nippy, and I just took Max for just like a walk around the block. A walk around the block because it's still a bit nippy, and that's what I did. I came home, and then I put on the TV set, and I potter around. I didn't write in my diary yesterday. I didn't feel like doing it. I'll catch up probably at the weekend. I've still got a sore throat. Strange, weird sensation. Oh, right down my throat, down here. It's awful. So I watched A&E, and it was in Yorkshire, and there was a man that was a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and he had really bad, severe ulcers on his legs, and he was being treated in A&E. There was a blonde lady with glasses that had broken, they thought she'd broken her arm, but in fact I think she dislocated her shoulder, and he was trying to put her arm back in. So I was watching A&E in Yorkshire yesterday, Barnsley. Barnsley in Yorkshire. Alexa, where's Barnsley?
Barnsley, England is a town in the northern part of England. It is located 75.9 miles north of Birmingham, England.
So I watched A&E, and then I switched it off and went to bed. Got this morning, put on some fresh clothes, like you do, splash your face with water, wash, brush your teeth, get dressed, have coffee, fed the cat, spread Max, and it just goes on, life goes on, and on and on. So I'm waiting for my mother to ring me, and we'll go from there. Oh God, I just hope I feel better soon. I really do. Well, I'm waiting for a call from the doctor. I phoned them yesterday, and she told me to do an e-consult form. I was watching the news yesterday, and there was a ginger-haired lady on there, and she was stood next to a sign that said man, and as she edged closer it looked like Anne, A-N. So there was a ginger-haired lady with red lipstick on, and she was stood reading, and it said she was stood by a little form of writing on a sign that said man. So all this does not help my depression. It makes me feel worse. I want to feel happy. I want to feel good. But when you turn on the telly, as I've said many times before, and you watch it, it does have an effect on how you're feeling. And I saw King Charles on the telly yesterday. He was having a cup of tea with somebody. He was off to have a cup of tea with someone. I don't delve into politics. I'm not very good at politics. I don't. It's not one of my things, politics. So I don't actually know what he was doing, where he was. But King Charles was on the TV yesterday. The weather, it's cold, but I feel hot all the time at the moment. Alexa, can you put LBC radio on, please?
LBC London from Global Player.
There's no idea of de-escalation at this point.
There's talks about escalation, and in the backdrop, actually, in the past 48 hours, there's been a U.S.-led kind of goal or endeavor to bring these sides to the table. They did that in the form of a summit in Aqaba, but both sides haven't exactly maintained what the United States put out as a statement they've agreed on. They said that they've gotten Israel to kind of back down from expanding settlements in the West Bank. That was walked back by the Israeli Prime Minister. But one notable comment that we should look at in terms of the American response and the global response is that there was a comment from the State Department in the past 24 hours saying that it expects Israel to hold those settlers who perpetrated that attack in Hawara responsible and to pay damages to the Palestinians whose property was damaged. So that is somewhere to look in terms of American policy and how they're going to respond to Israel's response to that violence and also moving forward.
Busy time for you, Emily. Thank you for carving out a few moments to talk with us. Emily Rose is correspondent for Reuters, joining us from Jerusalem, 8:29. Back to events here in our A&E. What's that headline again? A patient dying every 23 minutes after delays. Joanne's in Dulwich. Joanne, what can you tell me? Do you work in the health service? Good morning.
Hi, yeah, I work in the health service as a mental health nurse.
Oh, right.
So I sometimes do one-to-ones with patients within the A&E.
Yes.
And I myself am a patient of NHS and I've been there recently.
Right.
Sometimes you do hear that there's a waiting for like 10 hours within the A&E. And they kind of make announcements saying that if it's not an emergency, you can go home, but just report to a nurse that you're going.
Right.
So, and I also, when I'm doing one-to-ones, I also see that patients are being put near the door, like near the entrance and the exit, and because there's no space, so ambulances are basically taking care of patients that haven't been able to be yet discharged. And most of the time, it's like really elderly people that don't have care packages ready for them to be able to go home. Also, when I was in hospital, it was because there was a lack of pharmacists.
Right.
So they weren't able to get my medication ready for me to be able to go home. So I had to stay like an extra night. But that night could have been given to someone else that needed that care. But yeah, I feel like as a person that does work for the NHS and I'm also a patient, I know that people are trying their best, like the nurses,
Yes.
the pharmacists, we are trying our best, but you can't do much with what's been given to you.
That seems to be the picture across so much of the NHS. Joan, good luck with what you're doing in that really challenging area in which you work. Have yourself a good day. Thank you. Coming up after the news.
The double rapist Isla Bryson, initially placed inside a female prison, is to be sentenced at the High Court here in Edinburgh. I'm Alan Szynski reporting for LBC.
It's 8:30. You're listening to Breakfast with me, Nick Ferrari, here on LBC. So it's news time. Thomas Watts.
The Foreign Secretary says it will be hugely disappointing if the DUP doesn't return to power-sharing instalment. James Cleverly has told Nick the government's new post-Brexit deal with the EU is very focused on the party's concerns. Drones, a helicopter and police dogs are being used to search an area around Brighton for a missing baby. The couple who disappeared with the child at the start of January have been found and arrested. Teachers are beginning another wave of strike action, disrupting lessons for thousands of pupils. Today's regional walkouts affect much of the north of England and Scotland. LBC weather, cloudy for most areas with light showers in the east, feeling cold again, a high of 9 Celsius.
This is LBC.
So I often struggled at school. Once, when we had a maths test, I looked around the room and everyone...
Stop. Right, what's the state of the world as it is at the moment? Somebody dying every 20 minutes in hospitals. Oh, I'm grateful that for what I've got. The world has changed so much. It's so much nastier, harder to live in, and it's upsetting and cruel, leaving elderly patients. That woman saying that she took up a bed because they couldn't find a pharmacist to get her medication. So somebody that was dying or, really unwell that could have been saved could have had that bed, but it was held up because they couldn't find a pharmacist. I mean, we can't find NHS dentists, we can't see a doctor face to face. Well, I can't at the moment anyway. My mum said there was a GP 3-day strike yesterday, but that's the first I'd heard of it. I mean, what happens if everybody goes on strike? Is the whole world the whole UK gonna come to a standstill? I mean, this is ridiculous. Surely somebody should be doing something about this. I mean, it's all very well public figures visiting other countries, having cups of tea with people, but what about people dying in hospitals then? I mean, it's disgraceful. There is no policing either. Someone needs to fund the police so that the police can do their job properly, because, you're frightened to walk out. I told you I went out. I witnessed a crime the other night where I live. Kids going into a co-op and thinking they can just walk in and take the stock out with them. I mean, this is ridiculous. What is going on? People walking into shops because there's no police and no security and no one gives a damn. People are walking into shops and just taking what they want. And for the majority of people, and I did have a job once, the majority of people that work for a living and they've been respectable all their lives, and especially the elderly people that have fought in the war and they fought for this country, to see the state it is in now, and surely the head of this country should be doing something to make this country better. And I'm afraid a cup of tea is not going to make this country better, is it? It needs somebody to actually actively do something. I think the Queen would be turning in her grave right now. It's a mess. Absolute mess. There is nobody like the Queen. There will be no one like Queen Elizabeth. She held this country together, she had dignity, and she carried the name of the kingdom with pride. Now it's a mess. It's a frightening mess. How many changes in government have we had? And it's still a mess. The food is still overpriced. People are still hungry. The electric and gas are still up. They're not going down. People are wandering the streets, drinking willy-nilly, taking drugs, wandering about. I'm scared to go out sometimes. During the day, just to go and get my shopping. I am literally scared of what is on the streets. If everyone goes on strike, this country will come to a standstill and we'll have looting. Looting. Mind you, that's probably what's going on half already. Walking into shops and just walking out with the stock, and stupid community service police. What are they? They're not even trained police, are they? I mean, can a couple of community service officers deal with a gang? Deal with violence? No, they can't. Oh, and that's another thing I was watching last night. Police trying to nab this thief who was stealing from the elderly and vulnerable. And he actually threw a brick into someone's house while the poor old lady was in there. He actually stole while the old lady was in the house. He threw the brick in there. Must have frightened the fucking life out of her. One bloke he'd pinched from was 92. 92. Anyway, they caught him and he was put in prison for 2.5 years. But every time they'd let him out after minor theft, and he got worse. And he'd only been out about 3 weeks from prison, and then he did it again. Threw a brick through this old lady's window and stole while she was in there. It's because prison, I don't know what prison's like these days either. And they give these criminals so many chances, and then they go on to commit more crimes. And it gets worse, and they can harm innocent people. Prison is like, to some criminals, it's like a joke. They go in, they do a couple of years, and come out, and then they do it again. Some of them get a caution, they get let off with a caution. They go back and it's community service. They go back again, it's community service. They go back again, one last chance, community service. And then they commit really serious crimes. And they're getting away with it. Because things like drink driving can kill women and children on the pavement. Robbery, thieving, you know, it's somebody's worked hard for that, and somebody just comes along and pinches it while they've paid for it. Fair enough. I don't know what's going on. And we're supposed to watch, you know. I watched it yesterday, right? You can't hide things under the carpet. The state of the country is dire. Going to have a cup of tea with somebody, when you've got protection, because the royal family are protected by armed guards, the common or guarded member of the public that walks down the street isn't. So they don't see the real world as it is. The real world is violent. There's drug addicts, drunks, and thugs outside, and you have to go out, clutching your bag and hoping you don't get robbed. The royal family have armed bodyguards, all of them. They're not living in the real world. They aren't. I'm sorry, but they're not. You can't just have a cup of tea and it all goes away. It doesn't. You've got to actively do something. You've got to... The police need funding. The hospitals need help. And elderly that have worked hard for this country, left in corridors, is disgusting. And while you can't get rid of the fact that Boris Johnson did have parties whilst everybody else was stuck down with coronavirus rules, this has had a massive effect on people being locked up in their houses for nearly 2 years on and off. We're just let out and we're catching all the things under the sun. That is another thing that's causing all these things in hospitals. You lock people up for 2 years, suddenly let them out, they're all mixing with each other, and you come down with all sorts of fucking diseases. And the hospitals can't cope. Yeah, but you see, Parliament, royalty, they're all protected. If we have World War III, they're all protected in underground bunkers. Everybody else is fodder. Everybody else is fodder. If there was World War III, I was taught about it at school, they can't deny that fact. When World War III comes, if it ever does, Parliament and royalty get protected underground while we're all fodder. That's the way it is. I'm going to get on with the rest of my day. See you later.